Thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. We haven't done it for a while. I'm Chris Hill. I'm leading the product marketing at Taqtile, and I'm joined with John Tomazuka, who's our CTO and co-founder. Many of you know him, and also Maureen Miller, who's the head of our product management. They both have extensive experience working with customers to digitize procedures, create work instructions. So they have a lot of interesting insights that they're going to share with us today, and should be fun. Before we get going, I just wanted to cover a couple quick logistic points. We're recording this webinar, and it's going to be available later. And also, we plan about 30 minutes of presenting and demonstrations with about 15 minutes of QA at the end. So feel free to hit the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and submit your questions. If you have any logistical questions about the webinar itself, just hit us up in the chat section for those. But again, thanks again, and let's get going. Over to you, John.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thank you to everyone who's taken the time out to go through this with us today. Just quickly, I think there's a kind of a wide range of people on this call, so I will quickly remind people that may or may not know Taqtile or Manifest, just about our mission that succinctly is about empowering the doers. Everything that we do at this company is about those frontline workers doing their jobs, getting done what they need to have done flawlessly, accurately, and perfectly. So that is our aspirational goal. Today, we're going to focus in on one part of that mission that we call Manifest Maker. So today, we'll just talk a little bit about why we made this solution, how it works, generally speaking, and then I'm going to go into more detail about how to author, essentially that transition from Manifest Maker into Manifest, which many of you are more familiar with. But before that, Maureen's going to talk about kind of sort of the reason for being for Manifest Maker. So Maureen Miller, our Director of Product, I'm going to let you take over.
Thank you, John. Well, so I'm personally very excited to be sharing this with everyone today. The response for our beta test and sign up since has been so overwhelming and positive, which has been really exciting because this has been a real passion project for, I think, John and I especially, because this has been a challenge we've been butting up against for a while and really grappling with to find the best solution. And the challenge was really in working with clients and, performing ourselves, like the task of taking a procedure, whether it was documented or not documented, and organizing it into the form of a template and bringing it into Manifest to operationalize was daunting. And, everyone working with customers was always looking to us to say, what are the best practices and how can we make this easier, faster? How can we take some of those hurdles out of the way? And it's been a long time in the brainstorming process before I feel like we've landed on a solution that we're actually seeing a lot of success with. And we believe in ourselves because we've implemented it in our own at-home situations and with our clients. And we see how easy this is. So it's really exciting to share something that we believe in so strongly. So what are some of those hurdles? Some of the hurdles that we're keenly aware of, just from our experience with clients, many of you on the call, is resources. The users that are most knowledgeable about the procedure are not always the ones that have the time or have been assigned, the responsibility of documenting the procedures. Allocating time and resources to this task can be a challenge. Pulling frontline workers off the floor, especially when you have shift workers and scheduling. I've worked with clients that have had to request overtime just to go through this task. So it's not something a lot of clients actually have roles assigned to, in terms of digitizing procedures. So often in terms of getting a client up and running, we're confronted with the lack of a dedicated resource who can do this. Bureaucracy. There's just, we work with a lot of large organizations, highly regulated industries. And so for good reasons, there's a lot of process and policies to keep safety top of mind and to make sure instructions are accurate, efficient, and follow all the protocols. But this is multiple levels of review and approval. It takes a lot more time to go through those processes. It also means more users that need to be licensed for Manifest, need to learn the system and get in there and go through this. And we know that can be a challenge as well. Then we have challenges with adopting new technology. So we know that a lot of the users that are the most knowledgeable about working on a piece of equipment or anything, a frontline worker, they're not always the most ready to throw on a headset or learn new software, new technology. But they're the knowledge that we're trying to capture. So, one of our biggest hurdles was how do we get the technology to help them make their lives easier and not harder, and just kind of remove all those constraints that often get in the way of documenting these processes. So ultimately, we looked for ways to make this less daunting, less cumbersome. And I think we've done a really great job in doing that. And so what Maker does differently, opposed to, the process that we had people approaching with just Manifest, which requires a lot of setup, organization, planning to organize all of your documents before you start authoring in Manifest. We wanted to go directly to the best, the gold, the most important knowledge and capture that. And then if we can organize that, we feel like all of the processes, the reviews, the edits, and then ultimately operationalizing that and building on that with spatial content, we can build on that later. And so what Maker focuses on is how can we capture expert knowledge without interrupting a user doing their job, making it as easy as possible. So one of the best things I love about Maker is you can either record yourself doing a procedure, narrate as you're doing it, or you can take an intern, a new trainee, a new hire, and have them record some of your best experts without interrupting their day-to-day workflow, and then use Maker to organize that and build out a procedure pretty easily. And then build on all the process on top of that. John, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Okay. So thank you, Maureen. So really focusing in on that one box, which is capturing knowledge. We created Manifest Maker, and Chris and Lance and the marketing team made a really nice kind of overview of what the product is.
Manifest Maker. A whole new way to leverage expert knowledge. Digitizing procedures and creating work instructions can be cumbersome, technical, and time-consuming. Frontline workers often don't have the time to learn and manage content creation. Manifest Maker for iPad makes capturing an expert's knowledge and documenting operational procedures fast and intuitive. It's as easy as filming an expert and quickly transforming the video into step-by-step instructions. Seen here, an expert machinist is recorded performing a program setup procedure on a Sodic high-precision wire EDM machine. After recording the expert, the video content is imported into Manifest Maker and quickly authored into step-by-step work instructions. Quickly create procedures and steps that can be followed by others. Record videos in Maker or import photos and videos from your iPad. Drag single video frames to steps as photo notes. Mark up photos with text and markers. Subtitle text is automatically recognized from auto-transcribe video. Drag and drop video segments to steps as video notes. Use the dictate feature to transcribe additional notes. Import and bookmark PDFs for quick reference on job steps. Use Scratchpad to scan physical documents and manuals to quickly digitize text for step instructions, subtitles, and notes. Procedural templates can be shared with other Maker users, exported as a PDF, or imported directly into Manifest. After templates are imported into Manifest, the work instructions are available for viewing and enhancing in the Manifest. Procedures can be enhanced with augmented reality using Manifest spatial step notes, leader lines, and markers to provide 3D guidance overlaid on top of physical equipment. Once complete, operators access the work instructions to perform operational jobs using augmented reality headsets, iPads, or other devices leveraging all the features and capabilities of the Manifest platform. Manifest Maker removes the barriers to capturing employee knowledge and helps digitize procedures and create repeatable work instructions. Get Manifest Maker today and begin documenting your workforce knowledge immediately. Manifest Maker by Taqtile.
So that is Manifest Maker, and we're super excited to show that to you today. As part of this, that is a obviously a produced video. We also wanted to kind of show you a more real scenario. It's actually something that while we were in test with Maker, it was a scenario that came up with my car, which I'm unfortunately exposing to all of you today. But there was a recall, and they sent me sort of a piece of paper. And we had just been kind of looking for scenarios because in testing, it's sometimes hard to find a real scenario, but this was one that kind of presented itself. It's interesting because it's very small. It's just me filming myself and using different cameras to create this procedure. But if you think about it, it's also part of a larger problem. Like there's thousands of recalls every year, and all the cost that goes into getting cars back to the manufacturer to check things out, et cetera. So there, in this case, Ford is making an attempt to offload some of that work to the owner. So they're trying to have the owner record some things and some data, et cetera, to kind of triage the problem, if you will. But you could imagine at scale, if something like this existed, they could offload a lot more. So it's kind of an interesting problem set to think about. Before I get into it, just a little bit about setup in my scenario. So obviously, Manifest Maker, which is the principal thing we're talking about today, download that from the App Store. And Manifest, if that is part of your process, there's Manifest for iPad and Manifest for HoloLens, as well as other platforms that you can use. So I use that as part of this demonstration. And then I used, it's kind of like a GoPro. It's called the Insta360 Go. It's this picture of a fellow with a cap. It's got some accessories so you can attach it to your head. It makes really nice wide angle first-person video. And then I have an iPad mini that with this kind of mounting plate that you can put on a tripod. All this stuff is pretty cheap, and it allows you to get different views of the same process. So third person, first person. I use the mini because obviously the form factor is really nice, fits in your hand. It also has this capability called center stage that Maker uses to kind of follow you. So you don't have to be setting up scenes. It actually follows, I think it follows your head more than anything else, but it follows your head as you go through the process. So that's kind of the setup. I also use my phone camera to get some close-ups of different things. So this is the actual paper that was sent to me. So this is a recall. They're asking to record the VIN number of the car. And then in each one of the doors, kind of inside of the latch, there's like a code. And so they want you to go through and check those and then check if there's a child lock present or not. So that was what the recall was about. There's additional data here on this guide that they give you to go through. So essentially, I'm just taking this, recording it, and going through the procedure as they've given it to me, not without any sort of experience. The raw video that I got looks like this. I'm not gonna go through this whole thing, but the idea here is that you don't have to use Maker directly from the iPad. You could use your phone camera. You could use, like I did here, the Insta or a GoPro or any type of camera that's on your head. Or if you have pre-existing video for training or something in your company, you can source and use that video as well. So no real limitations there. Once I've captured that video, I can put it into Manifest Maker. This is Manifest Maker. As you saw in the video, essentially what's happening here is that on the far left side, I'm creating a list of steps. In the middle is kind of my step builder. So I'm on step 1, creating content about step 1. And then my video management area is on the right-hand side. And so I'm just gonna go through this. I can resize this window to get a better view.
Vehicle inspections.
And I can scrub through the video to get to the exact spot. The subtitles also flow along as I scrub through the video. So if I'm trying to clip a specific area, that kind of automatic scrolling of the subtitles, as we call them, really helps you kind of get to the exact clip. And then I can just click that and drag it over to the step. And what it will do is kind of slice out that part of the video and add it to the step. So once I have that, I'm going to go in and actually use this feature that we call Scratchpad. It allows you to quickly grab OCR text from documents or other areas just by pointing the camera at it. So I pointed the camera at this document, take a photo. Maker does the OCR of all the text on that page, and then inserts it for you. And then your job is to kind of look through that and then add it to the Scratchpad. When you add it to the Scratchpad, you can use kind of normal iOS manipulation tools to select the text that you want. And then once you get that text, you can drag it over to the step description or to additional sort of instructions in your step. That Scratchpad is also persistent throughout the step. So if I move to step 2 and I want to pull something from that document, the text is there in order for me to access and then copy and paste and drag into the step builder. Back in the video tab, here in this demo, I'm only showing one view, but I can add multiple views, either record it directly or choose those videos. And I can add multiple scenes. So it's either the same view of the same operation or multiple videos that I can access and kind of edit from. Here, I'm actually looking at just the overall view. I can look at all the images and all the video and text that's been created and look at a detail of that. This is kind of what like a PDF document might look like. I can also look at those images and mark them up. So we have a markup tool that I can directly go in, use a pen, or just use my finger to kind of draw over those, and those are saved into the same image that's shown in the final procedure. And if I have, so I go through this and I finish my setup. If I have a Manifest account, I can actually export all of this to Manifest. Or there's some other options. So in this case, I have my link to Manifest with my horrible picture. You can also set the recognition language. So the spoken subtitles can be in any supported language, of which there are many. And then I have these 3 options to export. Those are to export a PDF file, a Manifest Maker file, which I can share with other users, or if I have, again, if I have a manifest account, I would link that. I can search for my asset class within my manifest domain and export that step-by-step procedure directly to manifest. At this point, we're exiting Manifest Maker and we're in the manifest world. So in this case, if I have the iPad application installed on the same iPad as Maker, it will deep link directly to manifest, bring up that asset, and bring in all of my documents and all of my video, et cetera, my content that I just created in the last step. So that's a bit about how that process works. There's plenty more that you can do within Maker, but I thought I'd just kind of transition into, okay, then what happens? How am I operationalizing that model? So here, if you want to, I'm sure you are aware that you can use 3D models as reference inside of Manifest. There are many ways to do this. You can either source a model on TurboSquid or other sort of online source. You could have it made, which can be expensive. In this case, I use kind of a quick and dirty method. There's a program called Polycam that can do like a LiDAR scan of your object, in this case, my car. It's pretty rough, but we wanted to keep this kind of real. So that's the model that I'm using in the rest of the setup. So at that point, I have my model, and then there's plenty that I can do to kind of refine that. So some of you may know this, but in Manifest, the web application, I can go here, see those same steps that I just exported. And you also have the capability here to do that sort of refinement, so you can author within this environment. So I can look at all the step content that was exported from Maker. I can adjust that, make sure that the order is right and all those kinds of things. And then I can actually edit it. And we have this option now where I can edit in 3D. So within the web, I actually have that view. So I can do this kind of authoring directly inside the web browser without actually using a headset, or I can use kind of the quote unquote standard way of editing, which would require using a 3D headset of some sort. You can obviously do 3D authoring on the iPad as well. So you have many options at this point once you have your template exported for more specific placement, for refining what you're showing, for adding 3D content like arrows and boxes and circles and all that kind of great stuff. And so the real thing that we're kind of trying to get to is this operational view. So once all that's been done, this is the majestic real car, the Ford C-Max 2013, with the content placed regardless of how it was done. And I'm able to see all the stuff that I created in Maker, as well as the additions and the refinement. And, you know, again, this is supported in any kind of view, but this would be the operational view where someone can go in, review what you have, zoom in, get more detail on what it is that you're trying to do. In this case, I added some additional authoring steps in the web. So we have this capability to say, I want to collect some data. We call this meter evidence. So at some point in this, just forward a little bit, I'm showing you the VIN number stuff. In this case, so I've got the front driver door and I'm supposed to enter a code. It's shown through some of my photos, and it tells me you have to put in some kind of evidence. So I go in and add a door code to this system. So anyway, that's kind of the full cycle of the authoring process after Maker. And the beauty of this is that it takes very little time. It took me as much time as it took to walk around the car and then to author another couple of minutes. So it's very quick. So the summary here is really you don't have to be technical to get started. One key thing that we haven't really talked about is you don't have to pay to get started. Manifest Maker is a free application. Where our intent with this is really to, I don't want to go so far as to democratize, but we really want people to get involved in getting comfortable creating digital procedures. We think it's a logical stepping point and that big barrier that stops people from really going further and getting a lot of value out of this. Two of the export options that we have don't require any sort of manifest account, paid account, or whatever. Those are the PDF and what we call maker file. That maker file, just kind of going backwards, that's actually something called an RC file, which is an Apple standard that can actually be shared and it can be edited within their Reality Composer system. So we're giving you a lot for no money, which is great. We also very soon now will be allowing users to do a free trial of Manifest. So you'd be able to do all of this and export it into Manifest to kind of see the full cycle. So that's an additional thing that we're adding very shortly. And once you are in that, so once you've created that instruction, in order to sort of spatialize it or create those AR work instructions, we give you a lot of different tools to do that, whether you're just going to do it in the web or on iPad, or if you have a 3D headset or something like that, we give you all the different tools to do that. And we just want to encourage you to do it. That's why this is free. That's why we're trying to get the word out on this. You can do it, and you are awesome. And with that, go do. I'll end it there, and then we'll take questions.
Okay, it looks like a few questions streaming in, John. Thanks for the presentation. I would encourage everyone to ask your questions if you have them. John and Maureen are great resources for questions around Maker as well as just generally around Manifest itself. I'll paraphrase a couple just to get going. There's a few streaming in. But someone's asking about Maker. Is Maker the way to create templates now? When do they use Maker versus Manifest? How do you think about those two, John?
I would say that you can use both. It's not really a one or the other scenario. It just kind of depends on your workflow. I guess very generically speaking, if you have a very well documented procedure and you have pre-existing content and you have integration that needs to be done, probably you're going to end up more in sort of the Manifest side of the scenario. But if you don't, or if there's a lot of procedure you're trying to capture that is not necessarily already documented, or you don't trust that what you have documented is what people are actually doing, Maker's a great scenario for that. So I answered that by not answering it, I suppose.
That's great. That's great. This is a little bit related to both products, I would say, Maker as well as Manifest, but someone's curious about where the content is saved. They're thinking about a private wireless scenario where customers may not want their content to go out to a data center. So can the content be stored somewhere else on an edge server, or potentially, on premise?
I have a note here that Kelly wants to address that live. I don't know if he's on this. If not,
yeah, I'm happy to. I mean, John could as well, but for Manifest Maker, the data is stored on the device itself, on the tablet. But for the full version of Manifest, we have a containerized solution. So we do have edge pricing where that data can be stored on a private cloud or even in an edge deployed scenario. And so we definitely suggest you reach out to us if you have more questions on that. We'd be happy to follow up on that with you.
Thanks, Kelly. That was Kelly Munn, by the way. He was introduced at the beginning.
Okay, so someone's curious about, can you use Maker on an iPad without LiDAR?
You definitely can. What I would say is that we use that because we were also using it to scan a 3D model, which you can also do without LiDAR, but it's not as good. The other thing I would say about LiDAR versus non-LiDAR is just it does a better job of kind of like tracking in 3D space. If you're really concerned about the AR view and how stable it is, that's another plus, but no limitation on whether you use LiDAR or not. Both or most iPads with or without it are capable of doing AR views.
Sure. Excellent. A handful of questions on device support. Someone's asking about RealWear, Epson, Moverio. Do you want to talk just a little bit about platform and device support?
Sure. So today we're supporting a series of what I'll call 3D headsets. So HoloLens 2, Magic Leap 2, those are kind of the main ones. We will be supporting other platforms like Oculus Quest Pro, but that will be sort of changing in the future as more of those devices start to come out. On the, I guess we'll call it sort of mobile side, we obviously support iPad OS, which is a big platform for us. And then the web portal is not just for sort of that authoring. There is a web view there for operators. So if you need other kind of device support at the like sort of least common denominator, they can log into the web portal and get a responsive mobile view of the job that they're supposed to do with all of the content minus kind of the AR view. And in terms of those like the Epson Moverio and RealWear, et cetera, we're not supporting those right now. We're just kind of evaluating what makes sense.
Okay, great. So someone's asking about licensing, and is this solution integrated with Taqtile software with Manifest, or is it a separate solution? I guess another way to put it, is this thing really free?
Yeah, it's really free. I mean, it is obviously we created it to make our customers' lives easier, but we also want to create a larger community around knowledge capture and digitizing procedures, and that's kind of the sweet spot of this. We honestly don't care. We'd love it if millions of people download this and use it to help them in their everyday work. But there's this division where you say, okay, I captured all this stuff and I can show the view of what I want people to do. But now I want to operationalize it. Like I want to create jobs and measure people and train people and see what they've done. That's kind of a simple way of drawing where we'd say you need a Manifest license in order to do that.
Great. Yeah, let's see what else.
There's one, sorry, someone was asking about RealWear headset. You can use that headset as the recorder, as kind of the camera, but there's no app on the RealWare that would send it directly as part of authoring.
Okay, great.
There's one many part. So this question is about protecting your own IP with the processes and procedures. We want this stored on our own servers. I think Kelly kind of answered that one. It's not, I would say that our public, it's your own area. You have complete control over it. We don't have access to any of that data, but if you need that to be stored on your own servers, as Kelly said, we have a containerized version of the server that would serve that need. And the manifest maker itself, there's no server behind it. It sits locally on the device until you say otherwise. And then you asked, do you have white label pricing? So the product would have our logo and branding to. We can discuss that if you get in touch with us afterwards. It's not sort of out of the box thing that we do, but we've heard that sort of asked before. So please get in touch with us afterwards. Is there a cost for the initial platform training? So we did a lot of work, not just for Maker, but with that, what I referred to as kind of the free trial. What's going to happen with that is that you have a month where you can add as many users as you want to your domain. And as part of that onboarding, there's a lot of free training that goes on. So you're able to know how to do all of the functions within Manifest, but we certainly have available like a prepackaged solution that would be more for like proof of concept and would include X hours of training and helping you out with the platform, etc. How is this different from C Dayton? I don't know what C Dayton is. I'm not a. And there's another question here about partnering with other AR companies like TeamViewer, Pilot, Help, Lightning. So, I mean, we have partnered with a lot of companies. Typically, we're more partnered on sort of what I would call complementary. So, Microsoft Dynamics, these types of systems that are typically feed data to our product. Certainly, there's others who hold procedures, so we're partnered with them to integrate with their kind of main storage or document management for procedure. But we're not currently partnered with other competitors at this point.
John, I think there's a good question down below where they're impressed with the features of Maker and they're just curious if they should expect to see some of those show up in Manifest on certain platforms.
Certainly some of the learning that we're doing there will leak into Manifest, but we also don't want to kind of reinvent too many wheels. I think we'll kind of make sure that we're focusing the energy in each one of these areas where we think it's best served. So if I'm again, trying to simplify that, it's more like, let me just grab something that I already have and is available, and I'm not worrying about onboarding some new type of device or worrying about how to device manage some headset and make people comfortable with something. Let me grab something that I already have, I already can deal with, and start this process. So that's kind of where Maker lives. When we get to Manifest, we're always going to be focusing on making the authoring process easier and easier and easier. So you may see things leak in. I think there was one thing that was like the markup of photos that was super nice on Manifest Maker. We put that into Manifest on iPad. So there's certain things that cross over.
Okay. Another one towards the bottom regarding NVIDIA's Omniverse. Any
We
connections
do not
there?
have any formal tie-ins to NVIDIA Omniverse at this point. We're interested in quite a few things that they are doing along the lines of creating models and some of their remote rendering and AI capability, but nothing formal to announce there.
Okay. Looks like we're towards the bottom of the list here. There was a question about someone looking for the Maker app in the Apple App Store. I think we answered that one, but there's a link on our website if you don't see the link in the Q&A. You can always ping us with more questions or contact us for a deeper discussion on any of these topics. John Marine, appreciate your help here in your presentation. And I just want to thank everyone again for taking the time to spend some time with us.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Appreciate it.